Oh, right, of course, because I should know who that is.
I don't care what you think.
I'll tell you something that rubbed me right.
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And you've got to believe in yourself, right? Even when everybody else doesn't. You can't ever let a waver. I'm sure there's many times Brandon Bussey wondered, man, am I ever really going to get my chance?
Undrafted, 3 years in Western Michigan, signed with Boston, never made it out of the AHL with them. Moved on to Florida. They waived him before his first season that even started. Carolina picked him up really as insurance. And what a year he has had.
31 wins out of nowhere, really, with the injuries in front of them. Carolina, their pro scouts look for, like every team, they look for players they think are undervalued somewhere else. They bring Bussey in, and we just see a little glimpse here in the highlights of tonight. He's big, he's really athletic, he's a fighter, and I don't think he's the most technically solid guy, but do you really have to be if you can get in front of the puck? And that's Bussey's way. He's been phenomenal.
Hour number 2, Reentry Monday. Just real quick, Stanley Cup final thought. Carolina takes it. And wouldn't you know it, Brandon Bussey is the guy that gets it done. You had him. Never even gave him a shot. Just sort of languished in Providence for the, 4 years he was here? Yeah, you let him go really pretty much for nothing. Signed in Florida. They let him go for nothing. Carolina picks him up, $1.9 million against the cap, $1.9 million salary.
I mean, why give him a shot when you have someone like Korpisalo in his way?
Seriously, think of that.
No. Why pay a Stanley Cup winning goalie 1.9 when you can pay an insufferable boob $8 million a year to lose in the first round? Which maybe not fair to Jeremy Swayman, but he had a good year. But I'm sorry, I have to scratch the personal itch. It's silly to overspend in net, and Brandon Bussey and the Carolina Hurricanes are the latest, greatest shining example. Maz, your thoughts?
I mean, the Bussey part of it, the series changed, Mike, when he came in. I mean, really, if you look at it, it's statistically even. They were getting smoked in that game. They came back, they rallied. In the final 3+ games, Carolina scored 16 of the final 22 goals in the series. That's it. The only game they lost was the one they lost in overtime after they erased that 4-0 deficit. So, but Bussey was a big part of it. All of a sudden, he started giving him some stability there. He didn't play great in the next game after that, but the last two, he was very good. And the whole thing, Carolina was, to me, this thing proved without a doubt, the best team in the league this year.
It finally translated.
It really did. It totally did. And I said to you the other day, and I still believe, when they, particularly when they get a lead, they check better than any team in the league. It's incredible.
They're the best checking team in the league.
Holy crap. They smother you. You have no room.
And it's really kind of more stick checks. Like I think
exactly. I don't mean physically.
When fans hear, like, check, they think you're getting smashed into the boards. No. It's really just
checking.
They're sticks.
Actual old school checking with the sticks and the space.
Yes.
They are on you the whole time. There's nowhere to go. They cover freaking every inch of space. That was impressive.
To win the Stanley Cup with only 3 losses in that run is nuts. I can't remember the last time a team did that.
I think they said it was like the second or third fewest games in history.
Yeah.
In the postseason, only Edmonton at one point had like 18 games where they did it. These guys were 19.
Sounds right. I figured it was one of those crazy Oilers teams in the 80s.
I mean, they were dominant. They really were. They were dominant. And I thought the big thing was how they just took space away from the opposition. It was incredible.
Okay, back to your phones. Let's do it in a rapid-fire fashion, Stu. Let's do a lightning round, shall we, please?
The lightning round, brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors.
When property damage hits, time is of the essence. The longer you wait, the more extensive the damage can become. Fallen trees from a storm, a sprinkler head bursting in your apartment building, a flooded basement at your home, or a fire at your business. Whatever it is, our guys at Blue Sky will be there in no time. So visit gobluesky.com. Go B-L-U, no E. Go B-L-U-S-K-Y. Gobluesky.com brings you the lightning round. Dave in the car in the next. Go ahead.
Mike, I know you're happy that it's like the Knicks won in a different kind of way without the best player, but you want to really know why they won? Because they played two of the biggest jackass coaches of back-to-back years in Missoula and Johnson. Those guys suck.
You know, how about Cleveland? How about Kenny Atkinson?
Well, again, based on what he said, he's another one.
Cleveland had him. What was it? Was it game one? One of those games early in the series. Cleveland.
Yeah, game one.
It was game one.
20-something points in the fourth quarter. And then after they go down 3-0 or whatever it is, the coach comes out and says, well, actually, in expected points, we should be up 3-1 or whatever. So don't just limit it to Missoula and Mitch Johnson or whoever. I think the whole league, sports, are infected by teams that have been turned over to the analysts and numbers-driven coaches who've sort of lost their touch for the game. And I think we're all worse off for it. And it's really sad because it keeps costing these teams. It keeps costing them at the highest level. And these owners who've just turned it over to this approach, it's crazy to me.
It is. It's nuts. It's completely nutso. That's all they do is keep talking about the process. We keep doing that. It'll work. No, it won't. What don't you get? Seriously, it's driving me bananas, too. Like, it's gotten to the point where, what are you talking about? Sorry, it's a lightning round.
Michael and Milton, you're next on the lightning round. Go ahead.
The Knicks had all their comebacks because of the Knicks. When it happens to everybody against you, it's because of you. And Wemby, I love Wemby being a source sport. I wish Tatum wasn't out partying with all the players who just beat his ass in the finals. And that Wemby is mad and can't. Tom Brady was the biggest source sport in sports. So was Michael Jordan. And before Jordan won, we all hated it. And after he won, we called him competitive.
Yeah, so I'm willing to give Wembanyama a little bit of a break. His age, on top of, he just lost. So you're not going to handle yourself great. I just, that's not my issue with him. He doesn't play close enough to the basket. He plays like a wing. We still got another 7-foot whatever wing. I think it's kind of proven. Maybe the reason there's no more dominant players in teams is because the best players play a style that, well, just back to the point what we just said.
It mitigates the height advantage.
They're all jump shooters.
Yeah.
So it's hard to dominate the league as a jump shooter. The guys that dominate the league outside of Jordan were big guys. I mean, I know the Lakers and Celtics. I mean, Kareem and Parrish, and they played inside the line with a different era. But I think it's going to take a big guy to dominate the league. But if the big guys don't, Giannis plays like a wing. He wants to handle the ball and bring it up and trigger the offense. And if all these guys are going to play like that, and I know Jokic plays like that too, kind of, I don't think you're going to dominate the league because you're just relying on jump shots.
I mean, you got to be willing, rather, to mix it up. Mike, it's because playing out there is easier. It's just it doesn't require as much effort. You just launch. That's it. And you don't have to go in there and fight for space and get hit and get pissed off at the officials. And I'm just going to stay out here. It's nice and easy and fire away. And I can win that way. At least they think they can.
Matt and Maine, what are your thoughts on the lightning round?
For every fan like myself who is annoyed that the Knicks won is rooted in a little bit of jealousy. Why? To everything that you're talking about. You have the two best players in the East together, and your team is on paper better, yet every time we watch this team in the fourth quarter try to get it done, there's a steady stream of crap going down their leg, and you're jealous that you have to watch Jalen Brunson and this Knicks team continuously get it done in the fourth quarter, which, in my honest opinion, is infuriating as a Celtics fan and makes this championship for the Knicks that much worse.
It should be. Yeah, that's it. Agreed 100%.
Yeah, it's a team that can actually close, unlike yours.
They're not afraid to grind. I think that's a big part of the Knicks. The games at the end, when you have to fight for every inch, are grinds. You got to fight for the win, physically fight for it.
You just want to. It's always easier to root for a team that's greater than the sum of its parts. Is what you want to be. You achieve to the level or above the level of what people would ascribe to you, and that's the Knicks. And you're just the opposite. I think this Celtics group has underachieved. And it's not necessarily that they've underachieved given, they've been to two finals, they won one. They've won as many regular season games as anyone, maybe more. I don't know. That's not why I say they've underachieved. I think they've underachieved given the teams they've lost to. You should not have lost to those Heat teams. You should not have lost to that Knicks team. You should not have lost to the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, what are we talking about? I even think you were more talented than that Warriors team. You should have won that series. But you couldn't close. Key, real chance to go up 3-1 at home in that finals and win that series, and you couldn't do it. But I'll give you a little bit of dispensation on losing to Steph Curry and an all-time team like the Warriors. But those Heat teams, that Knicks, no. That's who you're losing to? That's underachieving. That's a horrible That's just not the team you want to be. Nate in Leominster on the Lightning Round, brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, it doesn't sound nearly as cool as Trev Dog. I wanted to talk about how in the Brad Stevens era, it feels like we have completely been unable to get dominant bigs or even like bigs that can play a whole game and affect the game. And I don't think we're going to win with Joe Mazzulla unless they turn him off and on again. But if we're going to, it's going to be with a big, whether it's Giannis or somebody else.
Okay. I mean, I think if you just had a version of Al Horford, you'd be that much better off. I'm not, I think I didn't get into the average Al thing, and like if you don't know Al Horford, you don't get basketball. But I was kind of on the side of the value of Al Horford. He played down low. He bodied up other players. What he did to Giannis. He used to own Towns.
Yeah, big time.
And he was really good against Giannis. And
he was, because he wasn't afraid to be physical.
Right, so there was a mindset thing where Horford would say, I'll take him, I got him, and he'd body him up. And there was a toughness to Al Horford. And he wasn't the most talented guy in the world, but I think you've lacked that the last couple of years.
Mike, they've definitely lacked it, because, again, when you get into these big games, like, it is about fighting for space. That's what it's about. It's fighting for space. You're trying to beat guys to spots, move people out. It's all of that. And in all the big games in all sports, I think it's about that a lot. Fight for the space. And they don't fight for the space. They'd rather sit out on the wing and shoot it out of their ass.
Frank and Sandwich on the Lightning Round, brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Yes, what do you got to shoot out of your ass?
Before game one, Brunson went to the Knicks and said, stop complaining to the refs and concentrate on playing basketball. And when I heard that, I actually watched. And if you watched, there were a few rare occasions, but the Knicks generally didn't complain at all to the refs, where the Spurs did, especially that crybaby Stephon Castle, who complained every single one. I just think Brunson's a special player.
Brunson did tell him that. They still do complain. Brunson still complains, but probably a little less than other teams.
Yeah, and I would say they definitely, for the most part, stayed focused. Like, I loved the fact that after they came back and won Game 4, that, Anunoby, after that great tip, was very even-keeled. Like, just got to focus on that. And then Brunson was drilling that in, too. We're not done yet. And you might say it's lip service and it's phony, but I think they believed it. Like, they were singularly focused. They were all on the same page. They were, there was no bull crap with them. They just fought for every freaking ball.
Jeff in Hyde Park. What do you got, Jeff, on the Lightning Round?
All right. How you doing, guys? Rather than we always talk about changing the players, but rather than changing the players, we never talk about changing the coaching staff. We're not getting rid of Joe Mazzulla. He already signed that contract. So rather than change the players and rather than get rid of Joe Mazzulla, change the coaching staff. They're part of the team as well. So if you can't change JP and you can't change Joe and you can't get rid of Joe, then change the coaching staff. Okay. That might help.
Sam Cassell and Tony Dobbins, the real problems of the Boston Celtics. Yeah, I mean, well, come on.
No, and what assistant is going to, really challenge his coach, especially if he wants to be a head coach in the league? You start undermining your own coach, you're gone. You're toast. So let's not eliminate Stevens from part of the problem, too, because Stevens has endorsed Mazzulla on this. The only guy who's going to get Mazzulla to back off is Stevens. So Stevens is, hopefully that's what's happening this offseason.
Thus concludes the Lightning Round, brought to you by our friends at Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Again, visit gobluesky.com. No E, GOBLUSKY. Gobluesky.com. Re-entry Monday returns right after these words. I want to get to the gossip first.
Everything you said is right.
Felger and Mazz, the Sports Zone.
Balogun, can he get inside? Still Balogun, Flo Balogun!
11th international goal for Flo Balogun. It might be one of his best. Drags his defender with him, stretches the back line, stays onside. Did the chance get away from him? No. Such great composure in this moment now when he cuts onto the left foot. Comfortable with both right and left, settles himself. Not only picks out the corner, he picks out the top corner. Just a beauty for his second of the game. Flo Balogun, U.S. 3-0 in the first half. So dominant. Excellent stuff.
That is how the half ends.
Reentry Monday. How about some soccer thoughts as the World Cup takes over America and Boston? And there's two different things you can talk about. The Tartan Army and Scotland and what's happened here in Boston the last 4 or 5 days, which has been a hoot. Or Team USA on Friday or Team USA on Friday. I am a little more interested in Team USA. And we'll take your thoughts after Friday's 4-1 win over Paraguay. Murray, what do you think?
So maybe their high water mark, you read anything going into this thing, might be the round of 16. If they're going to look the way that they did Friday night, shouldn't it be higher than that? I know I'm not alone. Maybe you feel the same way, Mike, but coming in here Saturday talking about it, like most people that have seen the U.S. men's team over the last 15, 20 years or whatever, if you only check in every 4 years like I do, I don't ever remember them looking like that. They look like a European team. And for me, the fourth goal, so Gio Reyna, who they sent home 4 years ago, right, because there was the whole thing with him and the coach and his family. If they're going to bring in guys like that as a sub, and I thought his goal was, to me, the most impressive, I don't know, maybe they got a shot at this thing to maybe make the quarters, maybe go further. I know it's just one match, but the one thing I want to know, and I really couldn't get an answer to Saturday or the rest of the weekend, is was the U.S. really that impressive and that good, or does Paraguay kind of suck? But then again, I've seen some of the stuff about Paraguay in some of the qualifying matches that defensively, they're one of the better teams, that they held their own against Argentina and Brazil, which are powerhouses. So maybe they are that good. Either way, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good watch, and maybe they're going to go further than people expect.
I'm in. They sucked me in. That sucked me in. And by the way, about the Paraguayan defense, that one guy had a tough night. Holy crap, number 16, I think it was, who kicked it in his own net and then got smoked on the third goal. He got absolutely...
Well, that was the same guy. I didn't even realize.
The same guy.
So that's what we played you. We played you Balogun's second goal. It was the goal that made it 3-0 right at the end of the first half, which was a brilliant, world-class play by this Balogun.
I mean, that was a freaking dart.
Tremendous play, but I didn't realize that was the same defender. Poor guy.
Oh, he dusted him, the poor bastard. I don't know what's waiting for him when he gets home.
Nothing good.
No, definitely. But it was fun to watch. I mean, I had to catch up on it a bit because I tied up Friday night, but I caught up on it, and man, it's the firepower that makes a difference, at least as far as ignorant American sports fans or soccer fans like me. The ability to score. That third goal was a freaking rocket. In fact, I would say, other than the one that the guy knocked into his own goal, all three of them were pretty good goals.
So my takeaway is what Murray said, and just to set it up a little bit, I'm not the biggest soccer guy, but I'm a little one. I'm a little bit of one. I'm more than most, I would say. And I have followed the U.S. men's team over the years, and we've talked about it over the course of the 17 years of this show. At this time of year, we engage a little bit in this, and I watch it and I follow it. And this is not a revelatory take because others are sort of debating it, but that's the best I've ever seen them look. I've never seen them look like that. There was a time I was trying to think about what it was. There was a tournament that they beat Spain. And then I think lost to Brazil, I want to say, in I don't even know how that could be the same tournament. But there was a tournament where they either gave Brazil a hell of a match, and then they beat Spain. Maybe that was the same year. I'm confused. There was a time that they did beat Spain in 2009, which was a huge upset. Spain was riding like some 35-match winning streak or something, and the U.S. beat them in 2009. And maybe that was around the same time. I thought they either beat Brazil or gave Brazil a hell of a match in a CONCACAF something or Confederations Cup. So I sort of lose track. But I do remember that. But I don't remember them looking like this. They played with like a flair and swagger that I'm just not used to seeing. Those goals, the first goal was an own goal.
Yeah.
But if you watch the setup for it, I think McKinney started with something that was like behind his leg. It was a touch that he had that was almost behind his legs. And then Pulisic dusted two guys. He split two guys on the left, and he got it back to McKinney, and he was crossing it to Balogun, who was open and would have scored, but the dude tapped it into his own net.
Was this the play where Pulisic put up his left hand and then he kind of sprint? Like, the speed of that dude was also...
That's the best I've ever seen Christian Pulisic look. I've not seen him impact a game like I saw him impact this game. They had another goal taken off the board by an offsides. They had another goal that should have been an easy goal where Balogun set up, I want to say it was Sergino Dest coming down the right wing, and Dest just hit it too heavy. He had a bad touch and sort of lost control of it, but it was a wide open thing in front of the net. That should have been a goal. Balogun's first goal, which was set up by Pulisic off the left wing again, tremendous. The ball, there was a ball that I think sent Pulisic on the way down the left wing from the midfield, was just world class. The ball that sent in Balogun on this goal we just played you, his second goal, world class. They had like some world class offensive stuff, and they strung it together in the first half that I've not seen that team play like that. And so, yeah, I'm in. That was tremendous.
That Reina goal, too, was how they were pinging it around before it got back to him.
So
too.
The Reina goal I leave off, Murray, because it was...
that late in the game?
The 97th minute of 97. It was like the last minute of stoppage time, and they were up 3-1, and the game was over. Now, it was a tremendous buildup and a tremendous strike, like with that,
on the outside
of his foot. Like, oh my God, it was awesome. But the game was over. I kind of leave that to the side. No, the game, the tournament, the tone for the U.S. was about that first half, and I've never seen him play like that. It was tremendous. And so, we talked about this, about U.S. soccer and U.S. soccer coming on. The key drivers of this are hardly what you would call products of U.S. soccer. So I just went back and looked it up. The Balogun kid I was not fully aware of. He's a legit European player. He plays in the French league, in the first French league for Monaco. And he was bought out from, I think, somewhere in the Premier League, from Arsenal. In August of 2023, Balogun left Arsenal and signed with Monaco for $43 million. That was his transfer fee, $43 million. And he was Monaco's player of the year. So this is like a legit guy. So how is Balogun? Balogun was born to Nigerian parents and raised in London. So you tell me, how does a Nigerian born and raised in London get to play for Team USA? Let me tell you. Balogun was born in Brooklyn. His parents were living in London, but they visited New York when his mother was 7 months pregnant. However, on their intended return flight, airline staff refused his mother permission to fly due to safety concerns over her being too heavily pregnant at that time. So they had to stay in New York. He was born in New York, after which they immediately hightailed it back to the UK, where he was born and raised and entered European soccer at the age of 8.
They just happen to be here on vacation, so we get him by default.
I was going to ask this question. I'm glad you did this.
He has nothing to do with U.S. soccer except they wouldn't let his mom on the plane over on a layover, and so he was born here, and because we have birthright citizenship, he gets to play. And he also played, I think he played for the UK. But now FIFA allows you to make one change in your life. You can play for a side and then change once if you've got like dual citizenship or things like this. So I think he even may have played on the youth level for the UK and then switched to the US, I think. That second part I'm not so sure of, but I do know he was only born in New York because they wouldn't let his mom on the plane to go back to the UK.
It's amazing.
So take him. I'll take it. American. Yeah, American.
Born American by accident. Super talented. We'll take him.
He had nothing to do with U.S. soccer, nothing to do with the MLS, nothing to do with anything. He was fully trained and reared as a soccer player. He and this is how they do it over there. He joined Arsenal at the age of 8.
That's awesome.
Which is what we need to do. This is like the pay-to-play thing here. Is like, no. In Europe, if you can play and they determine it when you're 8, they'll nab you and put you in these academies, and that's it. And he was on his way. He started training with Arsenal when he was 8.
That is awesome.
So, but because the airline wouldn't let his mom on the plane because she was too pregnant, he was born here in Brooklyn, and so we get to claim him, and we got him. Perfect. I'll take it.
I thought you were going to tell me initially he was born prematurely, and I said, oh, there's a break.
Malik Tillman, born in Nuremberg, plays in the Bundesliga. Has nothing to do with America. Brought up in Germany, snabbed by a German club, but his father was American, so we get him. And he was someone who flashed in this game too. Serginho Dest, born in the Netherlands. Dest was born in Almirón. I'm sorry, I don't know where that is. To a Surinamese American father, Kenneth Denst, and a Dutch mother. Kenneth Denst was born in Suriname and immigrated to the U.S. with his family when he was young, settling in Brooklyn, eventually naturally U.S. So, like, and these guys, none of these guys, nothing to do with the MLS, nothing to do with you. They were all trained over in Europe from day one and play in European leagues. And so, great place to start. I'll take it, especially this. This Balogun's a game changer because he's a pure, what do you call him, soccer head?
9.
9. He's a center forward.
2-footed.
He's a number 9. Good job, Mazz. He's a 9.
Pure 9.
He puts the puck in the net, as we would say here. And boy, that takes a lot of pressure off of Pulisic, who was kind of expected to be that, even though that's not really what he is. He plays on the wing. That's the most impactful I've ever seen Christian Pulisic play. It was tremendous to see. And I think this Balogun changes everything. And he's really like he's an American on the flimsiest of pretense. I say that with all love and respect in my heart. I'll take him. But I guess the but to all this is the real step for U.S. soccer is to take truly American-born athletes.
It's a little, because what you're talking about is a little gimmicky.
Yes, but I'll take it. Like, we remember the World Baseball Classic?
Yep.
You know, how loose some of those, if
Greg Weissert, the Italian.
If your mom once had a cannoli on Hanover Street, you're in. Right? Like,
yeah.
The standards there were a little loose.
Yeah, or if she bought one.
She once had a calzone on Mulberry Ave in the Village 20 years ago. You're in. Right? Or whatever. So I'll take it. But the next step is really to identify not just the American, where they're trained here.
Correct. Develop them here.
Where you have the apparatus to grab them at 8, put them into the academies, and develop them here. That's when you've truly arrived, and I guess we're obviously not that close to it. But I'll take this in the interim. All these half connections and loopholes, take advantage of them.
Mike, that shot on his second goal, on Balogun's second goal, was
elite.
Freaking snipe.
Left-footed. I didn't know that was the same defender.
Oh, yeah, that poor bastard.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That guy looked like me out there.
There's that. And then this game featured the single most important play in sports this weekend. The single most important play in sports this weekend occurred in the second half of that match. I'll give you that quick thought, and then we'll get back to your calls right after Murray gets you updated here.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz. Now, on the Sports Hub.
We've got a stoppage of play. And the VAR check, we're understanding, is mistaken identity. So, was the yellow card entered in the book as the wrong player?
This is one of the new things that FIFA were looking at in IFAB before this tournament. Did this player, Almirón, dive and simulate to get Tim Ream caution? I don't believe there's any contact. And because the referee has cautioned Tim Ream, the USA defender, he can then put it under the misidentity and caution Almirón for a simulation.
Hey, Mark, I got to say, I love this part of the technology right here, if this ends up being what happens, because, so look, that's what he's doing right now. So
cancels the yellow, Ream gives it down.
This is what we're trying to get out of this game. You don't want to see people trying to simulate like that to draw fouls and win fouls. So in previous editions, and sometimes you say, look, is there too many things being reviewed and it's taken away?
Review, clearly visible, no contact, simulation by attacker Paraguay, yellow card, free kick.
And listen, we're not just saying this because it's the U.S. I think you and I both love that. That is exactly, if we can on a replay that quickly look and see that was a missed call, it was a dive, there was no contact, why not change it? Because why punish Tim Ream for something he didn't do?
And that was the point I was about to make. You might think, well, it's
Single most important play from the weekend. Follow along there. If you saw it, you know what that was. If you didn't, quickly, U.S. defender apparently tackles a Paraguay forward. Paraguay forward goes down, as tends to happen in these matches, like he was shot in the back, flailing around, writhing in pain. And so the ref assesses a yellow card to the U.S. defender. They go to replay. Turns out the U.S. defender never touched him.
Never even brushed him.
Paraguayan attacker faked the entire thing, including, it's not just faking going down.
It's the theatrics with it.
It's the rolling around, and if you see it, it's great. It's like the... It comes with the full theatrical face gyration. And they looked at it. The U.S. defender didn't touch him. They took away the yellow card from the U.S. defender and gave it to the Paraguayan.
Brilliant.
Oh. Why is that so hard? Now, listen, the only problem is the whole thing took about 2.5 minutes. I didn't put a clock on it, but it felt like that. It was a couple minutes to met the whole thing out. Maybe that's why there was 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game, because they had to figure that thing out, which is too long. But the point is this. If you want to take it out of basketball, if you want to take it out of hockey, if you want to take it out of soccer, which needs it more than any other sport, you can do it. And if soccer is starting to do it, good for them. They have a long, long way to go. Because my single biggest problem with the game is the amount of time I got to watch these guys roll around on the ground.
Because it was still rampant throughout the weekend, not just that match. There is still too much of this.
I saw another one yesterday. It was a similar play, and there was a little bit of contact made. I think that it was the game between Ivory Coast and Ecuador where a guy went down, and it was like, dude, he barely touched you.
It's so I don't understand why there's not a code among players of, look at how you're carrying on here, dude. Like hockey, it's a smaller problem in hockey. I don't feel there's quite the theatrics. I mean, the guys on a high stick will snap their head back and then kind of like look for the blood. But it's not like I've got to watch a hockey player roll around on the ice with the... It's so bad. And it's multiple times a match, and it's a big waste of all of our time. And it's so emasculate. It's like...
Well, yeah, because they go back, you look at it, like you got... even if they get touched, you get brushed. I mean, they're acting like they got shot.
There's no code of toughness. It's like it's not... There's no value or juice in being tough. Oh, it's so bad. It's the biggest problem in the sport. It's just the amount of rolling around on the ground. It's like, get up, dude.
This thing that happened in the USA-Paraguay game.
But this is justice.
Absolutely it's justice. And like, how do you do that and not be embarrassed?
They were still arguing after the replay.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, my God.
Like, seriously, you didn't even get hit. The whole thing was, and I've heard people describe it as, it's like cheating. And it is.
It is.
It is really like cheating. You're trying to get someone else for busted for something they didn't even do in that case. Like, it's one thing to sort of embellish if you actually get hit.
Right. There's a difference between embellishing and flopping. Yeah.
Holy crap, that was unbelievable. That guy should be kicked out of the freaking tournament, if you ask me.
Start with this. Hopefully there's public shaming, but I don't think the soccer community has enough shame on this. Like, that is embarrassing, dude.
It is.
Are you embarrassed? Are your fellow soccer players going to make you feel embarrassed? I don't know, but it's a big problem in the game. But if this is a small step in the right direction, you can get the stuff out of the games if you want.
I had Murray's voice popping in my head. Shame, shame, shame.
Okay, Taylor Twellman's going to help us with all this in our long commercial-free segment next. Taylor joins us right after these words. We'll go back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Mazz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Mazz, 98.5 Sports Hub.
Let's get some help on the soccer because, we obviously need it. Taylor Twellman, one of the foremost, I'd say, analysts of the sport. You see him on Apple TV for the MLS package, former Revolution star. Joins us on our expert hotline. Taylor, how you doing?
Good, boys. How are you?
Good. Thanks again for joining us. You know me, Taylor. We've talked many times over the years about the U.S. men's team. I'm a casual, kind of low-level follower of the team, but I do follow it. I have followed it over the years. And I feel like Friday night was the best I've ever seen them look. Is that crazy?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty close, buddy. It's pretty close because if you look at the circumstance, if you look at the occasion, if you look at the conversation over the last 3.5 years, you can't find another time in the last 30 years where the United States men lived up to the occasion and, quite honestly, superseded it. 2002 against Portugal, the first 15, 20 minutes, they're beating Portugal 3-0. But I go back to that because, what was that, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning? That was the World Cup in South Korea, Japan. The general public was paying attention the other night against Paraguay. They were also paying attention to this conversation that this is the golden generation of player. Can they live up to the moment? Felger, they were good. They were really, really good. And I think the conversation now has to be that is the standard by which you should be judged. I'm not talking about the scoreline. I'm talking the purpose of play, the intent, and the energy. You're not going to win every game 4-1. You're not going to score goals in the manner that you did, but the way they went about their business with the caliber of player that they have, Felger, I'll argue with anyone, that has to be the standard of play by which they have to be judged by from here on out.
Taylor, does it inspire you at all to raise the ceiling for them in this tournament?
No, because it's Paraguay. But I say that with a very distinct idea of knowing Paraguay's not going to be Argentina. Paraguay's not going to be Spain, who, by the way, just
but didn't
tied Cape Verde.
I'm sorry,
right?
jump in. Didn't Paraguay beat Argentina and Brazil in their qualifying?
Yes, so Paraguay had only given up 6 goals in World Cup qualifying. However, they weren't very dynamic going forward, Felger. So the top 5 to 7 teams in the world defend like Paraguay, but also score goals at a real clip. Paraguay doesn't do that. They win a lot of games 1-0. But to your point, they had only given up 6 goals in World Cup qualifying in South America. To score 4 goals in the manner that they did, and you guys watched the game, they easily could have had probably 2 or 3 other goals. So they played with a real energy. But you're asking me right now if the United States men are in the top 5 of the world. Absolutely not. However, momentum is a funny thing. And if you win the group, like I told you guys last time I talked to you, you avoid a top 8 team until the quarterfinals. So, Mazz, to answer your question, you win against Australia Friday. That gives you real momentum to avoid any of the big dogs until the quarterfinal, which I have said all along, it's quarterfinals or bust. You're in your backyard. That's how you should play. That's how you should avoid playing any of the big guys. So, yeah, I think they need to win against Australia, and then we're talking about something else. But to say that because of that game, I expect them to go to the semifinals, that'd be disingenuous to your audience.
First of all, quickly on Pulisic, is he okay? Came out at half?
Didn't train today. So he's doing individual work. He got a knock on his calf 2 days before the game. The tackle, I'm going to get the wrong minute, but it was like 38th, 39th minute. You could see him grimace. They got to be careful with that, Felger, because if he's not 100% fit, you have to have him ready for Turkey in the final group stage game.
So you think there's a chance he misses Friday?
I think there's a chance he misses. Knowing Christian and how his body recovers differently. Now, Tyler Adams will tell you, as he did pre-training today, Christian's going to be fine. But actions are louder than words for me. Yes, it's only Monday, but he did not train with the group today.
Who's our most important player?
Oh, boy. So, Felger, you know me. I never sit on the fence. It has to be all 4. It can't be one. And so it's Chris Richards, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic. Felger, they can't do anything of real substance if one of those 4 does not perform at a high level. Now, Chris Richards completed 83 of 83 passes. That's the first player to do that.
I saw that.
Since 1966. Now, to give you a little nuance, that's because he played against a team that didn't high press and get after it. However, it doesn't matter. That's a center back for the United States that is physical, that can run like the wind, that is very strong, very competent. He's smart, and he can pass the ball. But they need all 4. Mike, the sum of the parts is always greater than any individual when it comes to the U.S. men as of right now. That might not be the case 10 years from now if we have a superstar, but we don't have that yet. All 4 of those guys have to be really good.
Taylor Twellman joining us here on the line. 2 things that I noticed on the matches so far that I was not fully aware of. I did not know that you could reverse a yellow card on an embellishment. I thought that was the most important thing I saw this whole weekend. Taylor, is the sport conscious of that, and are they legitimately trying to get it out of the game?
Yes, yes. Now, you've heard me say it multiple times on and off air. All you have to do is give a yellow card for every single embellishment ever, or even one red card, it would end it. But FIFA's not going to do that. However, for VAR to jump in now for mistaken identity and now punish embellishment, you're opening the can of worms that you now can change this. The problem is this, Felger. It's every league in every world doesn't have the magnitude of cameras and the resources to be able to do that. So that's where the problem is. But at the highest level, the World Cups, the Continental Championships, the Champions League, if they start this process, it absolutely gets it out. And then it begs the question, I'm digressing here, but like for Oklahoma City Thunder, what does the NBA then do?
Right.
Because that embellishment has gotten completely out of hand.
I love that idea.
You can do it.
Yep.
You just got to put your mind to it. You can
but
do it.
But it's also got to be fast, Mike. It can't be this drawn-out process of 45 to 50 minutes or seconds, excuse me. You can't have that. Like, make the decision, move on, give him a yellow card, and we go.
I agree. The second thing that I was unaware of is that now offsides is also partially electronic, Taylor, so you can sort of fill me in on this. And I think this is another kind of issue with your sport, with the sport of soccer for Americans anyway, because I think a lot of goals that the guy's not cherry picking. He hasn't gained a real advantage. He's just a half step ahead of where he should be. You know, I think they're too touchy on the offsides, but now this is also electronic. Is that going to open it up to more goals or fewer goals?
They're trying to speed it up. To answer to the first question, they're trying to speed up the process of having to not go to the monitor to look if his toenail is in an offside position or not. The Premier League has really struggled with this, and this is, and you know me, I'm not a homer. Major League Soccer's done a fantastic job. It's either he's clearly offside or you move on.
You let it go.
The Premier League right now, if your toenail's offside, they will. It's as you've said it. It's like circumcising a mosquito. You cannot consistently go into the details. FIFA's understanding this. FIFA's trying to get after it. They're trying to address it. The more semi-automated it is, the quicker decisions are there. But, Mike, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the toenail offside, they're going to tell you that's no longer offside. There's a real discussion on what is the fine margins, and until then, we're still going to be living by those fine margins.
Taylor, I'm going to ask you the most ugly American Felger and Mazz question ever. All right, so bear with me.
Saying something.
It is saying something. We were just talking about this a second ago, but Balogun had 2 goals in this game.
Yep.
And qualifies for the U.S. men's national team under unique circumstances. Okay, and I don't know if you know his whole story or not, but
I know absolutely his whole story. His mom couldn't get on the plane, so he ended up being born here in New York, and that's how he's American.
Yeah, so in other words, he's not really a product of American soccer, right? So I guess my question to you is, should we care about that?
No, Morocco started a game against Brazil, their opening game. One of their starting 11 was born in Morocco.
Okay, so you're saying this type... yeah, go ahead.
And Mazz, this is important for your audience. Who am I to say that American father that's working for the Army and for our services overseas is not American? You'll never hear me say that.
So I don't think it's that's not where we're going.
No, but it's very important because I don't want people to misconstrue what you guys are asking. These are legitimate questions. I had teammates that had never been to America. Make that make sense.
Well, so
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling you, like,
it's really about the
growth of the sport in this country. I think it's important that we actually get to develop them, because I just think that's going to be more sustainable long term.
Exactly.
Versus, I was reading today Balogun was signed by Arsenal when he was 8. Yeah.
But here's one, Felger, for you that will. You guys obviously aren't in the weeds the way I am. 26 players on the U.S. team. 21 of them developed in Major League Soccer.
Oh, is that right?
21 of the 26 either played for the MLS academies or even more so played in the first division of Major League Soccer.
So then we are porked.
But that's the opposite. That's the opposite. Major League Soccer had exports of $290 million in 2 transfer windows. Got 3 transfer windows, guys. This thing's cooking.
Okay.
So that's the problem. We want it, you, me, all of us. We want it overnight. It's just we're going to have to be a little bit more patient on it.
So so again, you transfer fees. MLS received $290 million for our players.
We're exporting. Yes, we are exporting. And listen, it could be 4 transfer. My point is the number is through the roof. Right. My WhatsApp is more over the last 3 years has asked me more. There's a kid, 19 years old, for Real Salt Lake that right now is going to go from anywhere from 9 to 15 million. He's been in MLS for 6 months. Alex Freeman, that's playing for the U.S. team that will play Friday against Australia, 2 years ago was on some random club team in Florida. Orlando City found him. Now he's at Villarreal. All you got to do is get the whole fishing net to pick him up, regurgitate him, and now you're part of the vernacular of the world market, and that's where MLS is, where 10 years ago we were nowhere near this.
Okay. Right, but you understand the question, Taylor. We're talking about
the great question.
No, but we're also talking about the development of kids in America. That's what we're talking about. Kids.
Absolutely. Right. And if the legacy of the 94 World Cup, to your question, was what? Creating Major League Soccer. 30 years later, 21 of the 26 World Cup players played some part of developing or playing in MLS. And eventually, every player will, if MLS has their ducks in a row and knows how to find the players, sell them. The problem for Americans, the general Americans that watch sports, that love sports, go, wait a minute, why do you sell players? They're assets. My sport's the only sport where they're assets, guys. You don't get the number 1 draft pick when you finish last place. You don't. This is how it works. So Ivory Coast, your audience will love this. Ivory Coast has a player by the name of Jan Diamande. He was playing Division III Florida High School 19 months ago. He's going to go for $75 million to Liverpool if everything goes correctly at the end of this World Cup.
Is he American? Oh, no, so he's Ivory Coast.
No, but he plays for Ivory Coast. The guy that scored for Germany, Nathaniel Brown.
Could he have been
played for the United States?
Is that guy that's going for $75 million? Could he have been an American?
I don't think he was here long enough, Mike. I'd have to double check that. My gut tells me no, but even so, they're here.
Okay. Well, I only care if they play for the U.S. when the time comes.
No, absolutely. But you guys understand, if they're here and you find them and you get their citizenship, now you're cooking with gas. There's plenty of players here.
Taylor, let's continue the conversation if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Wait a minute. You're not going to ask me about hydration breaks? This is amazing.
That's coming next episode.
Yeah, okay. We'll get the hydration breaks.
What a joke is that? I'm getting off.
Do they also give you guys orange slices? why
aren't they giving out popsicles? Like, who came up with this?
No, you're going to Dairy Queen after the next game.
Well, you tell me.
Give me a blizzard after the 25th minute where I ran 3 miles. Good idea, FIFA.
Do you think they really care about the hydration, or they want to slip in a commercial break?
No, come on, Mike. This was right after COVID. They saw the capitalism and saw the entire thing. Listen, if it's over 90 degrees and the humidity's 100%, absolutely. But you're playing in Dallas where it's 75 AC. Miss me with this.
Okay. Taylor, thanks again. We'll catch you soon.
Yeah. See you, boys.
Thanks again. Taylor Twellman joined us here on the line. I do love talking soccer with him. And he's
great.
So just don't suck, U.S. Keep this going.
I mean, I don't know how you can't get sort of inspired by that game the other night.
I've never seen him play like that. I've never seen the flair like I saw them play with in that first half. And a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, it was hard to not be inspired by that game the other night.
Okay, I'm sorry we're late. 90 seconds for an update. There are no commercials, just 90 seconds and we're right back.